Welcome back, class, to another live stream of Animation Collab, where I experiment with new techniques in my animation laboratory in collaboration with other content creators. My name is Sonja and I'm a motion designer, and if you'd like to support me, you can subscribe. I live stream every Tuesday and Friday. And if you'd like, you can give this video a like, comment, and share it with your friends if you'd like to support me even more. Let's jump right in. I'm continuing a series that I started in collaboration with Andy, aka ROT169, on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel where he does cybersecurity videos, and we've started a collaboration where I help him with one of his upcoming videos. I help him animate them. I've taken you through the process of compiling the graphics, putting together the storyboard, and now we're going to add some final tweaks to the storyboard and start creating the scene files for animation. So let's jump right in. If you missed any of the previous live streams, you can catch them on my YouTube channel. All past replays are archived there. So let's have a look at the storyboard. So we've added most of the information for that. Let me just bring back Andy's feedback. There's just a few tweaks. We mainly got through everything that he wanted to change. There's just a few tweaks that I still wanted to add to that, and that being mainly I think I need to zoom in for you to be able to see it. Just, it won't. Okay, give me a second. OBS is complaining as usual. Technical difficulties. Okay, here we are. I think you should be able to see everything good and well. So we've done all of these things. The only thing is length of the matrix, but I think I'm either going to do this. So this length of the matrix, what he's talking about is the attack framework. These columns are not all the same height. So I can either, I think I'm going to do that in the animation actually. Because what I can do is I can animate one of these columns to just animate top to bottom, and then just mask out how long I'd like that to be and then duplicate that comp. So I think I will only have one of these columns. Then another thing that he was saying, zoom out to show specific sets of techniques being shown onto the projector. So basically he wanted this first scene to appear again. So basically this whole build up until we get to this schematic of the hacker taking these different tactics to hack into a system. So I think what I'd like to do, there are two options. I can either, hi, welcome. So I can either take this and just put it behind here, and then I can have this fold open and hide that away. But right now it's not large enough, so I think that wouldn't work. Or I can just make it that size. That's also an option. So what I could do is I could grab this entire thing. I think, yeah. I could grab this, and I think this is a group. If I've done well, then I've grouped this. Okay, I did do that. Okay, great. So let's jump into this group. I'm gonna paste this in here, and right now it's this size. I can make it smaller so that when this what should I call it? Oh, actually, also this is the wrong group. It should be here. Okay, so basically I'll show you what I would like to do. I think I need a few of these. So let's put that here. Now I'd like to grab this X, put that here. So first I would like to show this again. Then we have this. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna use the same group and I'm going to group this and hide it. Then I'm gonna take one of these groups out. Oh no, what did I do? No, I need to hold Alt while I do that so it creates a duplicate rather than the same. And I want the first one, not the last one. I'm gonna make this blue, so that way it's the same size. And how long does he explain that? Okay, as you can see, there's a lot of different techniques across all the 4 tactics, and some are subgroups of similar items which share common attributes. Okay, each cell is analogous is an analogous. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Let's see. Whoa, go away. Analogous. Let's have that on the speakers.
Analogous.
Analogous. Okay, apparently that's how you pronounce it. Fine. Analogous. Everything is slightly too big. Okay, so it's analogous. Analogous an element. Is analogous an element? Each cell is. This sentence doesn't seem to be making sense. And also it's starting with the lowercase, which makes me think that also I don't have subtitles here, so something's off here. As you can see, 14 tactics, blah blah blah. Oh, I think I deleted the subtitles for here, so let me check the script, because I think something's not right here. So this is the original script. I wish it was actually getting the right size. Okay, there we go. Impact. Rah, rah, rah. Okay. Screen capture. Okay, so it has to be close to here. Some are subgroups. And perhaps by now you can see where my... Okay, I think it's missing this, and perhaps now periodic table comes from. And each subgroup item something attributes. Yeah, and now you can see. Okay. Yeah, there was a sentence missing here, so let's adapt that. This is why it's a good idea to really go through each of the steps of the workflow that you've set up for yourself. So for me, that includes, you know, putting the subtitles in my script, adding the numbers in my script before I jump into creating the scenes. It might seem at first glance, for somebody who doesn't go through all of this effort before they start animating, it might seem like over the top work, but you'll, as you go through the steps of this process, you'll catch mistakes before it's too late. So I do feel like even though this is a personal project and a for fun project, I still think it's quite important to still stick to the pillars of my structure, as I like to refer to them, then abandon them because it's not a commercial project or it's not a client project. Because I'm going through this and I'm picking up mistakes that might cause issues sometime down the line. So I really do want to highlight that, that this is why I'm going through the process. This is why I'm making it, you know, quite elaborate, because I'm essentially helping myself, my future self. Okay, so periodic table comes from, no, not feedback, we want the script. Okay, and then each cell is analogous an element. That sentence doesn't seem right, but okay, doesn't matter. Arranged into columns of similar items, multiple items can be, yeah, so this whole thing is kind of the recap of this scene in the first storyboard. So we're essentially bringing that back, but slightly different. So so now I keep losing track of where I am. And multiple items. Okay, I already have the and multiple items, so I just need this. This is the thing that is missing here. So I'll just duplicate this. This is so long. And let's just put that here. And I think that should be the last sentence. In the past. Something is successful in the past. Yeah. Some techniques require skills. But I don't have that sentence either. Okay, so I'm missing a bunch of sentences. I'm not sure why that is. I have a bunch of sentences missing here. So we're actually gonna have to prolong this, I think. All right. So, some of these techniques require significant skill or specialist tool in order to pull off one, and no one tracker will be an expert at everything here. Okay, I think this is where we really start with this schematic. So I'm just going to copy all of these. I'm going to copy them the other way around because I want to end up highlighting this artboard. I'm going to grab that and then paste them here, and then they show up in the subsequent artboards because it's the same amount of artboards starting from the same column as before, so they paste nicely in the correct sequence. So now I want to bring back all of this essentially, but so basically we want this here, So now we're highlighting the singular ones again. That's a lot of talking with not a lot of stuff happening. So I'm gonna have to see how I'm going to animate this. So let's have a look at the text again. As you can see, there's a lot of different techniques across all tactics. Okay, let's also say we have that animation happening. So you know what? I'll just push this to that way, and then we'll have like an animation sequence here, which is essentially this. But this size. So we've got the animation thing, we've got these things being highlighted, then we've got the columns being highlighted, and then... And perhaps by now you can see where my periodic table reference comes from. Okay, so I'm trying to understand what exactly could be happening. Let's just put that here, and let's grab this and put that here too, so that that can go over that. Yeah, this is the thing, like, I don't know if I love this look. So basically what I'm trying to go for is that we're only showing the attack plan on the projector with the little blob guy saying what they're about to do. Once we get to some of these techniques require significant skill or specialist tools, because this is where we're explaining the planning stages of the attacker, of the hacker. So first, and I thought maybe we can have this, the framework smaller in this frame so that we can, oh, they're not in the same position, not sure why. is that not in the same position? Oh god, this is so annoying. Okay, let me just check on this, because the jumpiness kind of irritates when you're trying to look through a storyboard and there's stuff jumping around and not aligned. It's very, very irritating, so let's fix that. So it's not quite aligned, and I somehow cannot fully align it. Okay, I think I have, but it doesn't have the right size, of course. Okay, you know what? I'll just bring this in here. That way it will be exactly the right size and in exactly the right position. Okay, great. Now it should work. All right, so we're animating it in, and then we're showing the tactics, and we're saying they're grouped in columns, in sub groups. Then we're saying it's like a periodic table with its different elements, and together they can be an attack. And then we get this. I like it, but I'm not... there's something about it that bothers me. It's not clean enough. Maybe it has to be the size of this. Maybe this can be bigger. I don't know, so many questions. Let's group this. And what if I make this bigger? Okay, let me take this out for a second and let me just center this here. Can be a little higher. Then we'll bring this back in. Apparently they were not in the center. All right. And we can make this a different color. We can make this the darker color just so it doesn't stand out so much, or rather it distinguishes itself from the periodic table a little bit. Maybe that's too dark now. Actually, yeah, it's too dark. I prefer it like this. Okay, so it can be bigger on screen, first of all. Second of all, now that it is bigger on screen, we can also make that the same size. So Okay. Let's see. So let's take this table out. I'll bring it behind. I'll hide this for a second. I hide this for a second. And I will not have all of these arrows on there. I'm confused. What is this in the background? Oh, right. Okay, that's still there. Okay, I'll remove that. And I'll make these bars. I'll make these bars gray instead of white. And what is this in the background? Again. Still there. Okay. All right. So now we have this. And then we could have this over the top. No. That one and this one. Let's move that up. Let's pretend to have that animation going on. And so we're covering up the one that was before with the schematic that comes after. Maybe. Okay. Let's see if that looks okay. So I'll bring this back here so it's slightly bigger than this one. Which, you know what? I'll just make this that size and then I'll align the two, and that way I don't have to redo the colored bars. Okay, so then it would look something like this, going from this, and then we have the animation, and then we have it fully like that. That could be cool. And I guess we can then also use this scene in the first storyboard, because that way it doesn't look so desolate, if you know what I mean. Like the first one is kind of just lonely on this white background. Yeah, let's see. So the reason I want to make sure that this is the way I want to do it is because if I decide to do that, and I'll decide to use that scene here again, that would on one hand save me work, because then I'll have two scenes animated with one effort. But that then also means I need to save that as like a template scene. So any scene that doesn't follow in the sequence of numbering, so 1 to 10 or whatever, however many scenes I have. If there's a scene that is used more than one time, I create a template scene. That way I know that I can't make changes in that particular scene if I only want those changes to be applied for a specific time where the scene is used, because then I have to make 2 scenes out of that, if you know what I mean. So I basically, if I'm using any type of asset or a scene or a composition multiple times, that will become a universal scene rather than a unique scene. So now I have to make that choice if I want to go down that route, if I want to do that. Then I need to think ahead of how I'm going to set up the scene. And also the question is, should I just from the start have this on this whiteboard thing instead of having it on the white background and then have the whiteboard roll out? But where he mentions that it's like the periodic table, I think it's right at the beginning. It's right at the beginning where we don't see the periodic table yet. So let's see. I think I need to mull over this and just focus on a few other scenes. So I need to decide if I want this to appear like this, that I'm talking about the framework on its own, and then I'm going to roll out the schematic, the hacker schematic afterwards, or if I want it all to be on this mat the whole time. I'm unsure. But first of all, let's get rid of these guys, because I know for a fact that this is the size I want them to be, regardless of what I want to happen beforehand. So there's that. And then we'll have this again. So that will be the last scene where this goes away. And then Andy can start his screen capture. I was like, where am I going with this? Yes, and then Andy can start his screen capture. That's where I was going with that. Yeah. Let's remove these. I'll just leave them like that for now, just so I don't have to keep making changes to that. Okay, so one more thing, I want to add the subtitles here. So after doing the first round of feedback with the client, what I'd want to do is prepare another version of the storyboard as a PDF. So make everything look nice, send it back to the client for a final sign-off before I start on finalizing the assets and prepping for the animation. So let's do that as well. Let's grab the subtitle, which is locked right now, and I'll lock everything else so nothing else gets touched in this process. But also the script needs to be unlocked so that I can copy this, paste this in here, and Actually, I think this would be better here. Okay, this is a long one, so let's cut this at the brackets. And I'll just copy this over here and paste that in there. That's also a little bit long, so let's grab it from the end. And actually, I think I'm gonna move it over here. So it's like that. This is definitely too long, so let's see where we can... Techniques, which something passed. Okay, and I think that's the last of the text. So actually, I think I can remove this one and have the off animation here. I'll save that. And now to the numbers. So now I want to decide what the numbers are going to be for these scenes. I've kind of started already. We've got 10A here. Then, yeah, I think this is one scene, and this will also continue into that same scene because we're kind of zooming in and out of this one circle. So let's just denominate this to 10B. I do the A and B one in case I want to break these scenes apart, in case I'm not sure if I want this scene to continue or not. I just make a note. This scene is getting a little long, so this is A, this is B. So might need to cut this, or, you know, but it's still part of the same scene, so, yeah. So it is getting really busy if you consider the scene starts here all the way here and goes essentially all the way here. So I'm gonna have to make a decision of if I want to continue this scene all the way until there like this or not, but according to that logic, this would be 10C, and now we finally have 11 here, and then 12 here, and this is essentially, this is basically the same scene, so I can go 12A and B if I want to separate those, but the graphics really should be all in one scene file, so that's why I'm going with the A and B. method. And that's it really for all of the assets. I think I'm pretty happy with everything else. I've made some changes with the colors, as I mentioned to Andy last time. So everything, nothing has a blue that doesn't mean attack in some way or another. Well, apart from Andy's logo. But yeah, that should still be fine. So, now I'm thinking, yeah, okay, let's save this out as, actually I want to save this as a copy, save as copy, and I want to save it as a PDF, and I'll go into my final storyboard, and this will be 2021. My reverse date naming structure. This is storyboard 2. And I want to use smallest file size PDF. And then we've got this one, which I will also save out, and then I'll merge those two in my folder. So this is essentially this one, but one. And smallest file size PDF. Great. And now I'm gonna go in there and I'm going to, let me just make that the right size. And I'm going to merge them, combine files in Acrobat. That's usually how I go about it. And it's going to combine them, and then I can save it as a new file right in that folder. And now I'm going to give it a new version number. So this is version 3 of that storyboard. And here you can see all of the scenes that we had before. We've got the subtitle and we've got the scene numbers in here. And we can just go through this so you can have a look. This is where we got to with Andy last time. Oh, something went wrong here. Yeah, I need to check that. Okay. So it's good to go through your storyboard before you send it off, because something went wrong here. So I think I turned off something. Turn something off here. So let's bring that back. We've got this, we don't want that. What's this? We don't want that. So for some reason I can't see this frame above. Clipping mask, okay. So something's wrong here. I cannot figure out what it is. Oh, okay. I think I added a fill to this when it... Yeah, okay. It wasn't supposed to have a fill and it had a fill for some reason. Okay, let's remove that then. There we go. Oh, okay, and it still has this other color. Let's remove that too. I'll just make it gray. Okay, excellent. And then we have the credential access stuff, and then it unlocks. I'm just checking that everything else is still correct. Oh yeah, and we said that this would look a little bit different. So instead of this going from frame to frame, it would go from object to object. So let's also make that change while we're at it, so that Andy knows that I know that we discussed that. So let's do it like this, and then we can flip it in the center of the frame. That way it'll be on the other side. It can be a little smaller maybe. Okay. And then let's also do that for the top. Yes, we're getting ready for the assets. It is time. So right now I'm still adding a few more tweaks to the storyboard just so I can finalize like the final version of the storyboard. That's what I would normally do with a client, you know, give the final sign off, and then I would get going. So I'm just making a few more changes so that Andy can have a look at this. Whoops, no, let's not do that. And then we're jumping into the asset creation. It's not rotating. Minus 45? Yes, okay, minus 45. That was it. And I'd like this to be like that. Can make this bigger even. And then we can have 2 of those here. Maybe opposite way? Yeah, why not? Okay. Okay, and now we have these. Let's group them, and I can bring that over to the other. Okay, so, and here I want to imitate that it's animating, you know, it's animating in. So let's add some anchor points. And come in here. And some of these are just going to be turned off. So we have like 1 and 2, for example. And I need to bring these back. And the top one here. Oh, now I have to compare the two. Okay, this one needs to be animated fully. this one needs to go. This one needs to go. And this one needs to go. And that one needs to go. Okay. Let's merge that. And now it will look something like this, going from this to this. Oh yeah, it's smaller. That's okay. Oh, there's something. So we've got this. We've got that. And we've got that. Okay. So let's save that. Let's create that PDF again. Now I can save over the number 2 PDF and number 2 storyboard. This one. Yes. And PDF. Save. And now we want to merge them. All right, I hope everything is correct now. Let's go quickly through this PDF, through the storyboard. Oops. So this is the scene that I was mentioning, that we might replace this with the very last scene of the storyboard, but we'll see. We'll see about that. There are still some colors, but that's okay. It's a detail. The blue where it shouldn't be blue, basically. I need to make sure to take that out. Oh no, it's not in the same position. Ah, god damn it, I thought I was so careful with this. Okay, it doesn't matter. I think Andy will get the point. And there is a number 9. There's a random number. It's okay. For now, it's fine. Let's just save that out as the version 3 storyboard. There's a few hitches here and there. I would, if this was a commercial client, I would go in and make those changes again until it's absolutely perfect. But I think Andy will have understanding with a few of these glitches, so it's okay. So first things first. Let's start with the scene files. So what I want to do is I want to go and grab all of the assets that I want to appear in this scene. The first scene goes from this very first storyboard right here, artboard right here, all the way to this logo right here. So the first thing is this entire title. I would like that one to appear. So let's copy that in so that I have the right positioning and all of the letters and everything. Even though I will use animation and After Effects to create this, I can still pull it over with Overlord. So let's create a new file. And actually, I have a template for this. It's my 1920 by 1080 animation template. And what that does is it has the animation artboard. So the artboard where the first artboard is where it's the size of my comp. So the way I import it, it will have all of the specs from this Illustrator file. The second artboard, the reason we have the second artboard is so that if anything is clipped off, like this little character here, if I only had this one singular artboard, and I had something outside of that artboard, that a layer would be clipped off on that edge. Sorry, I just hit my mic. So that layer would be clipped off on that edge, and the second artboard avoids that happening. So anything outside of this first artboard will not be clipped, and I can have my comp be exactly my screen size. So some people do it in such a way that they just bring in their assets and then they'll just make their artboard however the size needs to be. So let's bring in this this little guy. I'll illustrate that to you. So I'll just bring that in here, and then some people will work in that way that they'll just not have a standard size artboard. They'll just bring it in and make it as big as it should be. You can work that way. I don't like working in that way because I will have multiple scene files and I want everything to align to my standard 1920 by 1080. So I don't want to have to go in After Effects and shift my compositions or my assets in such a way that they'll be in the right position. I want them to always be in the position where I intended them to be in my storyboard, and then add the animation to that. So I always work with one standard HD 1080p artboard and an additional one that allows me not to have my layers cut off. So, and you don't need to name the artboards, they're not important. What you do need to name now is your layers. So let's start. So something that I added for the effect of showing Andy what this character might be doing is this hand animation. So I can definitely remove that because that's going to be the animation of the little guy waving. And something I want to separate. So since I'll be pulling this entire thing in, I don't think I need to separate this. I'll just pull it in as one shape layer and then make adjustments as I need to. What I do want to do is add a second layer. So this will be the text layer. And I also always like to have a background layer. Let's just call this Andy. Okay, so I'll add a background layer. Sometimes I will create the background layer in After Effects. Sometimes I'll just pull it in from Illustrator. It really depends. But in this case, and also another thing about the artboards. Wait, first I'll save this. So this is the first scene, and usually I like to name the scenes according to the script. So this is, hi, I'm Andy, exploring Mitre Attack framework. Mitre Attack the framework. So I'll just call this Mitre Attack because it's got the text and everything in it. So let's save it. And my naming method, if you didn't watch any of my previous streams, I number my scenes with 0, 1 and an additional 0. So first of all, the 0, 1 makes it so it sequences past 10. So that 1 and 10 aren't next to each other, but it's 1 to 9 and then 10 to 20. And the extra 0 is if I want to squeeze in an additional scene between 1 and 2 so that they then also sequence nicely. So let's do that. And then miter attack. And I like to name my scenes in camel case, just because I do a lot of coding as well as animation and illustration. And then especially in JavaScript, it's very common to do camel case naming so that it's more legible, so that you don't have to use underscores or dashes or anything like that. It's just one word, but it's more legible if every beginning of a new word, every first letter of a new word is a capital, so that, yeah, you can read it better. So let's go in, let's put this in here. And now I was working in my design folder. Now I'm going to into my animation folder so that all of my assets are collected all together in here. And I have my scene folder. So I'm going to save it in here. And yeah, I'm going to come back to the artboard. So let me just create this background so I don't get distracted with that. And I want my background to be white. And one thing I already don't like is it put this at -0.5 XP. So I need to check. This is exactly the issue that I was having with the presets, the Illustrator presets for animation. There is one. If you create a new, you can create one of these, and it has these two artboards. That's how I came up with the system to begin with. But I'll bring up the ruler. It has an issue that this first artboard, it doesn't start on a round number. Like even this center one, it's like 0.5 not in the center. So I want to center that. And I want to make sure that this one is also centered. And then I want to make sure that my artboard, my background, where's my background? Okay, the top left corner should be at 0, 0, because if you don't do that, then I've had issues with this, and if I remember correctly, well, the background will just be like half a pixel away from the edge, so sometimes you'll see animation through if you have like two scenes layered and you do a transition from one scene to another. You have like this tiny little gap, and if there's an animation behind that gap, like a loop, you'll see that, and it's really annoying. So make sure that your artboards are aligned. The way you can make this first artboard be on 0, 0, you can bring up your ruler with Control R. It's here. This is the ruler right here, right next to the tab bar, the task, what is this called? The I don't know, the toolbar. Yeah, the toolbar. This is the toolbar. And right at the top, my mouse is off the frame, but right at the top where the X and Y rulers meet, you can highlight that your artboard that you want this to be aligned to, and you can double click that little corner, and that makes that artboard be at 0, or at least it should. Let's have a look. Yeah, so when I have this artboard highlighted and I click that, I'll just show you for a second. I'll show you up here. You can see I have it. I have the reference point up left corner. I have this 1920 artboard highlighted, and it's at 0, 0. And when I go to this one, I go to the center, it's 1960 by 540. And another thing, why I don't use the preset, the Illustrator preset for this type of animation artboard. Hang on, let me. It won't let me dock the window correctly. Okay. So, so I mentioned that you can have this this video file preset, or also this one. So if I use this one, I'll just show you. It also has the two artboards, but first of all, the second artboard is much larger. And After Effects, if you have a lot of shapes and layers in your scene, at some point I discovered that After Effects just cannot handle it because of this second large artboard, and it starts introducing glitches into your animation. So I've decided to make my artboard half that size. So this original one is 14,400. And as you can see, it comes at half a pixel off center, which is absolutely annoying. And this one, the first artboard, yeah, that's at 0, 0, but the second artboard is like half a pixel off. I don't know why they did it like that. It's absolutely nonsensical. So essentially, yeah, I've created a template for myself. You can go under File and then I forget how you save. Oh yeah, you can save as, and then you can choose Illustrator template, and then you can save it in your like Illustrator user preferences folder to use the template. So yeah, that's my setup. And now let's do this guy. Let's set this guy up. So I basically want to separate almost everything from this body to make this guy so I can animate the guy however I want. I don't think I'm gonna separate the legs because you don't see them, and it's just gonna add more work in separating the legs. So what I do is I've ungrouped it. I'm gonna highlight the layer where all the shapes are on. I'm gonna click on the target, and I'm going to go down to Release Layers Sequence. You can't see that on screen now, but it's Release Layers Sequence. And that means it puts every single shape on a new layer. I drag that out. First of all, I get rid of that layer. I hide the other two. And then I have a nifty little shortcut, which is Rename Visible Layers. If you take one of my online classes, the very first one I ever made, which is called, it's this one, Be More Efficient in Adobe After Effects, and I explain in the very beginning of this one how you add this this rename layers. It's a script that I found on an Adobe forum forever ago. This Adobe forum doesn't exist anymore, so it looks like my explanation of how to use it is the only one that exists on the internet now. So if you're curious how to do this, go ahead and you can subscribe to that class with my affiliate link. You can get a 14-day trial for Skillshare, so you can go ahead and try that out. And yeah, basically what it does is I can put in a name of this, and I usually put this in front of a bunch of layers that belong together. So all of these layers that you can see here all belong to the character Andy. So I'm giving it the name Andy underscore, and I want it to be reverse layered. Doesn't matter in this case, but reverse just means it's naming them from the bottom to the top. And now I want to say this is arm left, actually this is arm right, and I'm naming it from my perspective. So I know it's the character's left arm, but that's way too confusing having to think, you know, switch your thinking. So it's from my perspective, the right arm. This is the body. This is, oh yeah, these are the legs. So now, as I said, I'm not going to separate any of that. I'm just going to grab this, and I'm just gonna put it in the body. It's just gonna be one thing. I'm gonna remove all of those that I don't need, and this is the eye. And I want the iris to be separate from the eye, so I can move the iris around, and this is the hat. Who knows, maybe when he slides in, the hat just kind of wiggles around, so I want to have that option, so I'll separate that out as well. And even though I don't see this arm, let's just keep it separate anyway. And that's the mouth. I can, you know, make it smile or add some shape animation to that. So let's just have that separated as well. And that's the first scene. And this is how I set up all of my scenes essentially. So now you kind of have an idea of how I do this and how, like, what my thinking is behind this, and how much actual like setup with the template and with the artboards, like how all of that works. So yeah, I hope that's interesting to you. And for today, I think I'm gonna take a break because I've been talking a lot today. I've been recording my online class today, so my voice is getting a little bit tired. But for the next few streams, I did say it's going to take me one stream to set everything up, and I did hope that it would, but now looking at all of the assets that I have, I think it might take me 2, maybe 3 streams. So sorry for those who are desperately wanting to see me animate all of this. I hope this is still interesting to you. This is still educational to you. So I hope that I'll see you for the next couple of streams where I'll be setting up all of these files and explaining kind of my thinking of why I'm setting it up this way, why I'm doing it a certain way, because I'm planning ahead for the animation. So yeah, this was basically it for today, because I need to let my voice rest a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to support me, you can subscribe, you can comment, you can share this video with your friends, or you can become a patron of mine. I have a Patreon and I have a Ko-fi where you can become a monthly subscriber, donating to my effort of creating free educational content on the internet, or you can donate a one-off donation to buy myself a coffee, or rather a cup of tea probably. I'm not a big coffee drinker. But if you'd like to do that, you can head to the links in the description of this video to support me. Other than that, yeah, just join me next time and join me in the journey of setting up this animation, eventually animating it. We have a long journey ahead, I'm not gonna lie to you, because animation takes a long time. Even just, you know, not even including the preparation that we've done already, but the animation process that we still have ahead of us, that's going to take quite a bit of time to really, first of all, set up, then to do some of the keying, and to finesse the animation as well. So excellent. Thank you. I'm glad that you are excited for the animation part, and I hope that you enjoyed this, all of the illustration and the kind of the admin part of this animation process. I hope that was also interesting to you, to give you a full rounded understanding of what goes into creating and explain a video like this. I hope it wasn't boring and you're just, you know, looking at the clock waiting when I'll start animating. I hope this was also enjoyable. That's the word I was going for. I hope it was enjoyable and you learned something. I mean, this is kind of the point to what I'm doing here. I want to teach you something that you maybe didn't know, or make you aware of something that you didn't realize is part of the job. So yeah, if you have any questions right now, drop them in the chat. Let me know what's on your mind. Let me know maybe what you'd expect from me, what type of content you'd like to see from me. I've already heard a bunch of people wanting more cut down, edited tutorial style content rather than the live stream. I am working on that. As soon as this next class is out, I'm gonna start writing a tutorial for YouTube, and I'm gonna try and put that together. So there'll be also that to look forward to. Okay, Paul. No, it's sorry. I always read it as Paul. It's up coral. So you're only here for the animation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to keep you waiting from the animation part. I'm trying to give a rounded overview of my work. So I hope you can wait until we've reached the animation part. Okay, great. All right. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any feedback would also suffice. Oh, great. Oh, thanks. What kind of animation do you do? Do you also do 2D motion graphics, or do you do 3D perhaps? Something that I've never dabbled in. I mean, I have. Never is the wrong term. I have dabbled, and that's probably the best description of it. I've dabbled in 3D. It was part of my studies. I did it for about a year or two, building 3D architectures and texturing them for a flooding model for a civic engineering. So that was interesting, but that was the most amount of exposure to 3D, I think. Yeah, 3D is so scary. I feel the same way. There's like so much detail that goes. I mean, you could say that about everything that you don't do, right? It's so difficult, and then somebody looks at your work, it's like, oh, it's so difficult. It's always difficult if you don't do it, right? Yeah, so 3D is definitely scary for me too. And I did it for a while, and it's good fun. Like, I enjoyed architectural 3D. What I don't enjoy so much is something looking polished, like a Pixar movie, right? That was when you start studying 3D, it's like that's the goal. You want your thing to look like a Pixar movie. And when you realize, oh my god, that's so hard to do, and you're not just working with animation and texturing, you're also working with lighting, camera, positions. It's like, I don't want to do this. That's where it left me. I love that. Yeah, when 3D looks like 2D, you have so many more options because you can move the models in 3D space, but they still look like 2D. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. It's so hard. Yeah, and 3D doesn't pay enough. Unfortunately, when I lived in London, I had a lot of friends in the VFX industry and all the biggest VFX houses there, and it's a tough game, and they really tend to exploit the employees. If you're a runner, like the lowest position you can enter in a VFX studio, most of the time it's unpaid work, or it's like minimum wage work. And half the time they don't accept any higher entry. You have to start as a runner, even though you have experience already. It's a bad industry, and they only give you, your salary, but you're expected to do overtime, but you're not paid overtime, and you'll be there until like 10, 11 at night, maybe on the weekends for weeks. It's not a fun world. I don't agree with it. And when I was there, a few of my friends tried to unionize, and it kind of worked, but I think they definitely had trouble because, as soon as you start unionizing, then suddenly your job is not available anymore, and a company that doesn't want to keep you can make up any excuse not to keep you to make it sound legal. And so yeah, freelance can help you with being more free with your time. It gives you a lot of freedom, but you have to be strict with your time, right? You have to put up boundaries. You have to be able to say, no, I'm not working during that time, or I'm not able to take a phone call past my whatever working hours are, or I'm not going to check my email on the weekend if you've designated the weekend to be your free time. You have to be really structured. I'm really good at that, I think. But at the same time, I always also feel guilty. Like, maybe I should do that. The hustle culture within the freelance space and within self-employment is very strong. And a lot of people will tell you, Jeff Bezos only works or only sleeps 4 hours a night, and like he does this many things and he's this productive, and you feel like if you want to be successful you have to follow this lifestyle, and I don't agree with that. One of the main reasons I went freelance is to have more freedoms, to be able to have, not to earn more, but to work less. I'm absolutely willing to take a pay cut to work less, because we're not here on this earth to work. We work to live. At least that's my opinion, and that's how I try to structure my work. I work with companies that I admire, companies that are in the same, follow the same morals or have the same mind space as me, companies that appreciate my work, and companies that appreciate my boundaries, So I try to structure my work in such a way that it brings joy and not stress. Success to me is defined by if I can pay my bills and live comfortably, not if I have millions in my bank account or if millions of people know me. That's not my definition of success. I know that's different for everybody, and I'm absolutely not judging anybody who has different standards, because it works differently for you. This is just the choice that I've made for myself, and everybody's choice is different. Yeah. So you definitely need to be careful with what other people try to tell you should be doing. There's always an amount of doubt, and I'm not saying that just because I know what I want, I'm always secure in the choices that I've made, because there are so many opinions, there are so many other people out there that maybe you aspire to be like somebody and they are following a certain lifestyle, so you think, oh, maybe I should do the same thing. There's always going to be doubt, if for whatever lifestyle you've chosen or for whatever boundaries you've chosen, I think. But it's still, it's a good practice to remind yourself, why am I doing this? Why have I chosen not to work on a weekend, for example? My reasons are because I have a partner who works a regular 9-to-5 job, so evenings and weekends are the only time that we have free time together. So I wouldn't want to sacrifice free time with my partner to work in order to have free time when he's not around, because then our lives drift more and more apart. Of course, I theoretically, as a freelancer, have the freedom to plan my days however I want. But then again, if I want to socialize with my partner or my friends, I have to structure my days in such a way that works with their schedules so I can hang out with them. I mean, maybe not now or the last year, but in general, I absolutely agree. We do depend on social media a lot, and I do struggle with that as well, because to a certain extent I have to be on social media to promote my business, to promote my classes, to be in contact, also just have a community. This channel, this live stream, it's to create a community together so that I can learn, that you can learn, that we can all be part of this thing together. So social media can be good and bad, but if you have to be on it to keep all of these things going that you need to get going, it can get a little bit stressful. Like, I do find myself always being on social media because I feel like I have to, not because I want to. So yeah, there is it's like a fine line how I feel about social media. Yeah, freelancing is tough on time management. You have to know where you're going with it and what you're willing to do. So, yeah. And it's a balancing act, but it's also, I think it takes time and experience to really understand how you want to structure your freelancing career and your time, basically. I think as you go on, your boundaries might shift and move a little bit, and I think that's also okay. Just because you set one boundary early on in your career doesn't mean you have to always follow it, because your life changes, you change, your needs change, so your boundaries need to change with that. So yeah. It's getting very dark in my room again, but at least the screen is it's creating some sort of light source, so my face is not completely dark. All right, friends. I will wish you a good night. I hope that I shall see you next time. The next stream is going to be on Friday, and Friday I'm gonna do a shut up and draw. So I discovered that Tuesday is the day that people are really excited to like participate in the stream. They come and they want to watch and they want all the information. And Friday seems to be more like a chill day, which I understand, you know, end of the week. Some people like go out, and well, I keep saying things like people are going out to the pub. Not now and not for the past year, but you know, in theory, they probably just want to hang back and relax. So I think I'm not gonna, you know, put this down in stone, but I think from now on I'm gonna try and do animation collab on Tuesdays and shut up and draw on Fridays, just because it's a little bit more of a relaxed stream for me and for you, and we can create together. So if you do have some artwork that you like to get on with, or maybe start something new, bring your artwork with you. Let's do some drawing together on the Friday stream. And I'll hope to see you then. Bye!